Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa. Today I have got 3 delicious vegan dessert recipes which are equally decadent as they are healthy. So all 3 of these recipes are perfect for Valentine's Day, which is in just a few days. That's why I'm sharing this video right now. But luckily they are also delicious any time of year. All of these recipes don't require any baking, which is fabulous. We are going to be making a freezer fudge that uses my superfood Nutella. So good, it only uses 4 ingredients. We're also going to be making a no-bake raspberry cheesecake, which is topped with a drizzle of chocolate. So that's like the more kind of fancy one. And then we're finishing things off with a decadent dairy-free mousse that uses coconut milk, dark chocolate, and it is just so good. So all of these recipes are up on the blog. You can find the links down in the description box below. It has all of the instructions and ingredient lists, everything you need to make them. I would also love for you to subscribe if you are not yet part of our community. Don't forget to hit that red button before you go. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. First up, we're going to make the fudge. So we're going to start by melting some coconut oil as well as some maple syrup in a small saucepan, and you'll just stir it all together until it's completely melted. From there, we will just add in our Nutella. And you could use store-bought Nutella, you could use my Nutella recipe, or you could just use any sort of nut or seed butter that you want. Stir that together, it will become nice and smooth and creamy and combined. And then just pour it into a lined loaf pan, and you'll pop it in the freezer, and it should freeze overnight is the best result. So I like to pop it in the freezer and just leave it in overnight. Once it's done, you can just remove it right from the freezer, and you can chop it right up into squares or whatever sized things that you want. You could also use a candy mold if you wanted. That would be totally optional. And here's what they look like. And it's honestly like the easiest dessert ever. I love just storing these in my freezer. I have one after dinner almost every single night. They are so good, super healthy, and honestly so easy to make. And I know I said 4 ingredients in the intro, but they're actually only 3, which is even better. Our second recipe is our no-bake cheesecake, and this one is definitely a little bit more involved, but the first step is to make the crust, which is a combination of pecans, dates, and sea salt, and you'll just add them into a food processor and then just process that all together until it forms a sandy texture. From there, just pour the crust into a 4-inch springform pan. This is a little mini cheesecake, but a little goes a long way. So just pour the crust ingredients in and then just use your fingers to kind of press it into the bottom and press it down as firm as you can, and that will be our crust. Set that aside, pop the food processor back on its base, and you'll add in your soaked cashews, coconut oil, maple syrup, plant-based milk, a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, some vanilla bean powder, you could also use extract, and a pinch of sea salt. And again, you'll pop your lid on your food processor and just blend this up until it's smooth and creamy. It should just take a few minutes, and it's going to be the consistency of like a runny cream cheese kind of. From there, we're just going to start assembling. So we're going to do a few dollops of the filling into the springform pan, smooth it over with the back of your spoon. Once you have that layer, you're going to add on some raspberry chia jam, and I didn't actually show you guys how to make it in this video because I've showed you before, so I'll link that video down below. But again, just spread it evenly so that you have a layer of the raspberry, then do another layer of the cheesecake filling and another layer of the raspberry, and then we will pop this in the freezer. And again, this should be frozen overnight, just like the fudge. Once it is frozen completely, you will remove it from the springform pan and then put it on a little plate or cake stand, whatever you want. And this part is optional, but I just think it adds a really nice like decadence to it. It makes it look really pretty, and it also tastes really good. But basically, I just melted some vegan chocolate chips and I just spread them on top of the cheesecake, and it makes it taste so good. And then you can just slice it up. I recommend that you do let it sit at room temperature for like 15 to 20 minutes before you serve it so that it gets soft enough for you to slice it. But you can just slice it into little mini slices of cheesecake. And since this is a mini cheesecake, I would say that it serves between 4 and 6 slices, just depending on how big you want to cut them. And also, since it's made with a base of basically cashews and dates and raspberry, it is a little bit heavy, or not heavy, but decadent. So I find that a little piece is just plenty. But it's so yummy, really creamy, love the layers, and you can see here it just looks a little bit fancy, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. Our last recipe is our mousse, which is also very easy to make. We're going to start by adding some coconut milk, full-fat coconut milk, into a small saucepan. Follow that with some maple syrup as our sweetener, some coconut butter, as well as some coconut oil. You could also replace the coconut butter with coconut oil. And then a pinch of sea salt, and we'll just melt this all together until it is completely smooth. Once it's smooth, just let it boil for like 30 seconds or so. You really want this to be hot because we're gonna pour it over the chocolate to make it melt. So set this aside once it's all hot, and we will move on to the chocolate. So we're using 3.5 ounces, just 1 bar of dark chocolate. Make sure that it's vegan, and I use 80% dark for this recipe. I really like how rich and dark and just delicious it is. So break up your chocolate bar into a bowl. Then you'll pour that hot coconut milk liquid over the chocolate and let it sit for about 2 minutes or so. Once it's sat, it should have started to melt, and you can just use a whisk to melt the rest of it together. So just whisk, 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 and the chocolate will melt, and you'll get this smooth, delicious, melted dark chocolate bowl of amazingness. It's so good. And then the final thing we have to do is just pour it into our little jars or ramekins. I like making this into 4 different servings. I just use little ball jars or little ramekins. And then you'll pop this in the fridge for about an hour, maybe 2 hours or so. And it should harden up, and it will get nice and like smooth and just mousse-like. It's so good. For serving, I do like to make this a little bit more decadent, especially if it's Valentine's Day. So I do a scoop of vegan whip or coconut yogurt on top, sprinkle that with some raspberries. You can use fresh or frozen or whatever sort of fruit you want. And I finish it off with some shaved chocolate. And it's such a pretty little dessert, and I want to show you the texture. It's definitely on the richer side for a mousse. So again, a little goes a long way here. I find that separating this into like 4 to 6 servings is plenty, and it's so delicious combined with something creamy on top. You guys are gonna love it. And there you have it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed those decadent vegan dessert recipes. Like I said, they're also actually quite healthy. So they do use a lot of healthy fats. So I will say the calorie count, if you're concerned about that, is probably on the higher side, just because they do have nuts and coconut oil and things like that. So I personally think that a little goes a long way with these treats. They are very decadent and rich, but they are also full of nutritious ingredients, so you don't really have to worry about it. But I find that even just a few bites is plenty to fill me up. So I hope you guys enjoy them. If you do end up making them, you can share a photo with me on Instagram by tagging @simplyquinoa or using #simplyquinoa. That just helps me easily find your photos and lets me give you a little bit of love in return. Otherwise, don't forget to get the full recipes. They're up on my blog. I've linked them down in the description box for you. And I think that's all I have for you today. I would love for you to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not yet part of our community. There's a red button right below this video. It says subscribe. You can tap that button. It will subscribe you. You know the drill. Otherwise, thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to be here and watch this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!